Hello, this is Durag Wisdom, and we are 24 days since the coup, since the first win now of the right wing to destroy our country, to destroy our social programs, which they will do. Call me paranoid, call me crazy, call me ridiculous looking. And I know I look ridiculous, but you know, that's entertainment, folks, right? Has Ed Schultz lost his way? Now, Ed Schultz is a professional broadcaster, all right? He is he's been involved in that business for, I mean, what is it, 15, 20, maybe more years, okay? He used to be on MSNBC, and then they unceremoniously got rid of him. I never knew where he was until I was able to get this Roku device. Now he's on YouTube. He works for the RT network now. He does stuff for them. And that's a little dubious for me. And again, I mean, that's the Russian television network in English. And now the Russian government is controlled by a James Bondian villain. That's what Putin looks like to me. He looks like a James Bondian villain. And I wouldn't suggest that the great Ed Schultz is selling himself out, but everybody needs to work, and maybe they said to him, who knows, and I don't want to speculate. But considering his coverage so far of the creature's eventual ascension into our government, it's less than is desired for me personally. And I am just an amateur news commentator. So the coverage right now, the coverage of the carrier deal that this creature is trying to tout as a victory for his way of doing things. And of course, Ed has been very supportive of this creature's attempts, and I don't think he's been quite objective, and I don't think he's been quite analytical. I don't think he's doing a service to progressives and liberals by complimenting this creature in any way, especially when he didn't really do anything. Oh yeah, he saved about 800 jobs, and that's great. And I think it's great when anybody's job is saved. But there's an Orwellian aspect to this that I think Mr. Schultz doesn't really cover. And that's the fact that this creature didn't really save that many jobs. He saved some of the jobs at Carrier, but the majority of them are still going to Mexico. And he's giving them $7 million over a certain amount of time of the taxpayers' money of Indiana, with the help, of course, Mike Christian extremist terrorist Pence, to pay for this deal. And it's not even keeping all the jobs, but this creep is making it look like he's doing this victory lap. I mean, instead of Schultz covering Mr. Schultz covering the way this creep is the first president in our history who's doing a victory lap, doing these rallies, like Nazi rallies all over the place for his rabid followers, where he criticizes the media and tries to undermine our First Amendment rights. I mean, Schultz should be talking about how he's going to be destroying, his party's going to be destroying Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, how they're going to try to really undermine the social contract, the New Deal. He did mention that in passing on his last broadcast, or the one before that. But basically, he was complimenting this deal for Carrier because it saved jobs. And I know that Ed Schultz is big on saving American jobs. I mean, he came out so strong against that TPP that MSNBC got rid of him. That's what I feel. That's what I speculate on. That they got rid of him. Trade deals are wrong. They benefit the corporations, but here they are to stay. We're in a world market now. And the thing that Schultz suggested that I think is good was that the entire world, the workers of the world, should now organize if we are now going to be in competition all over the world with different markets. So there shouldn't be an option for these corporate greedy scum to send its work to another country for cheaper labor when all over the world they're going to have to deal with collective bargaining. See, that's a good suggestion. But in the meantime, he fails to cover the fact that this creep did not save most of the jobs at Carrier, and what he did was he exacted a payment, a ransom, he paid the ransom of $7 million of the taxpayers' money. Now, another thing that Mr. Schultz fails to say on his broadcast is, sure, it's important to save jobs, but when you use the taxpayers' money to do that, the implication of that, of course, is what program is being cut to save that company and whatever minority amount of workers that they have. I mean, is after-school programs being cut? Is environmental programs being cut? Are these people in Indiana are going to have to pay exorbitant fees for sales tax? Are their taxes going to go up? Let's talk. I understand we don't want to see families lose their jobs. We don't want to see families out in the street be homeless. Any family of anybody, American families, which we're concerned about. But when you're going to if that's going to be your policy, if that's going to be his policy to pay these companies taxpayer money and then cut social programs, welfare, health, environment. If he's going to I'll get rid of regulations so people could eat lead. You see, this is the fine line, and this is where Ed Schultz seems to have lost his way. Now, when I say he's on RT television, that's a Putin station, and I don't want to suggest ignorantly that Ed Schultz is being muzzled. I don't want to do that. And again, the people will disagree with me, we need, the progressives need a propaganda system like the right wing has. They have a Fox News. And that's their propaganda machine, and they're going to be inhabiting our government, believe it or not, folks, because this piece of trash is bringing them in, and he's going to make he's trying to put ExxonMobil as part of our State Department. Big oil is going to control our government. When you mix business with federal government, that's fascism beyond belief. I expect Ed to talk about that too. Folks, like I was saying, we progressives need a propaganda, like a propaganda newscast of some kind. Now, I understand, look, I want objective news. I want Edward R. Murrow objective news without the big smiles and the glamour. When he was doing when Murrow was doing his main newscasts, I never saw him smile. The news is a serious thing. It's not entertainment like, say, Rachel Maddow does. It's so entertaining. It's so entertaining. The only reason I watch political news is you got to know the enemy. Because I hate politics, and I've always hated politics. But I have to watch the political news because our enemies, the politicians, are off to one thing: to screw us all without kissing us. So we need a propaganda tool. We need liberal newscasters to go out there and radically stick it to the right. Say things like they're Nazis, they're bringing in racist fascists and anti-Semites and corporate clowns and creeps from the swamp that they dug up so deep from the quicksand that they're taking away, they're threatening our Social Security, our Medicare, our Medicaid. You should say they're scum, that we should not compromise with them in any way. And that doesn't sound like news, right? I understand that. But look what it did for Fox. Look what it did for the right. They're now in control of our country, folks. And believe me, I love Orwell. I mean, I read 1984. It's my Bible so many times. And if you want to understand the kind of creep that Trump and his GOP and even the Democrats are, you got to read 1984. All the doublethink, all the lies, everything that this creep is doing now, it's right out of 1984. You got to see it. I saved all these jobs. And I expect Mr. Schultz to say exactly what the right does on their side. Stop these creeps. Stop them. Identify them. Keep saying over and over again, he did not win. He did not win. He did not win. He does not have a mandate. This is what we need on the left. I think Mr. Schultz has lost his way, sorry to say.